Hey Huskies, and welcome to our first Halo Wars 2 guide. In this video we're going to be going over the new game mode Blitz. This video will just be covering the basics, so if there's a demand for it we can do more videos discussing the metagame or specifically how to play each leader. Blitz, first and foremost, is a card game. Anybody who's played Clash Royale is probably familiar with this game mode already. You can get card packs by completing challenges, leveling up, doing story missions, or, of course, buying them. In these card packs, you can get new units to play in battle, and you can even level up units you already have to deal and take more damage. We'll go over the rules of the game first, and then get into how you want to structure your deck. Keep in mind that this tutorial assumes you already know how to play the game. If you don't know about the controls or what the units do, I highly recommend playing campaign first, or practice in firefight like we're doing here. When you get into the game, you'll start with 3 units. This is your starting army, which will be different for each leader. The most important asset you have in this game mode is your energy, indicated by the purple atom in the corner. They'll give you enough to make a few more units at the start, but obviously you'll need to make more. Though you'll have 12 cards to choose from in your deck, you'll only be able to use 4 at a time. The cards in your hand are displayed at the bottom. You can access them by holding the left stick and selecting one. The first thing that I went for after getting my units in place was the Jackrabbit. They're cheap, they're quick, and they can deal a decent amount of damage, which is important because the game will drop energy cores randomly. When this happens, you should drop what you're doing and focus on these, because for each one you get, you'll increase the rate at which you generate energy. At the end of the day, if you're collecting more energy than your opponent, you can make more units faster and your opponent will have a hard time keeping up. If you can stop your opponent from getting these energy cores, you're really crippling their economy. Since we're in a firefight right now, you can't see the score, but as long as you have more control points than your opponent, your score will go up. The goal is to hit 200 points, so these games tend to go pretty quick if one player ends up dominating the game. Notice how when I played my Hornet card, it spawned at half health. This is called fatigue. If you play any card outside of your home base, it spawns with half health and will be unable to collect energy for 10 seconds. After that 10-second period, it goes back to normal health, assuming it didn't take any damage in that time frame. So be careful when spawning units in the thick of battle. And that's basically it as far as rules are concerned. Let's go into things to look for when building your deck. For the sake of this video, I'm using the Sergeant Forge deck, and I'll be taking it for a spin to show you how it does. Let's look at the individual card and explain what everything means. Take this Wolverine for example. The wheel in the top tells me that it falls under the vehicle category. Pretty obvious. Left side shows how much energy it costs to play. 40 energy is fairly cheap for the amount of damage this thing can deal, which is good. Underneath the image, these 3 icons show you that it's weak against infantry and vehicles, but strong against air. Finally, at the bottom it'll show you any kind of special abilities that this unit has. In this case, detect means that I can see invisible units, which is useful for when my opponent plays snipers to be able to watch the control points. Another important ability that I look for in a unit is Rush, which allows me to play a unit outside of the home base at full health, which is excellent for being able to spawn an insta army. Vanguard Kodiak only costs 10 more energy than regular Kodiak, so for me it's a no-brainer to select this one. When selecting units, you want to make sure you have a fair dispersal of energy costs. Stack too many power units and you'll have no energy to fund them. Stack too little power and you'll be fighting your battles with sticks and stones. This screen helps you check their dispersal. In my case, you see I have 5 units that cost 50 or less, which is playing it moderately safe. If my squads were to get wiped, I can spawn several units fairly quickly to mount a counterattack. On the other end, I have Grizzlies costing 150 and Forge's Warthog costing 220, both of which are very expensive units, but completely worth it, and they can be backed up by the cheaper units. Last thing I want you to notice is the unit counters bar, which will show you that I don't have a whole lot to defend against air units, which you'll see that I struggle with in the next game. You want to be able to counter any type of unit, so be sure to take anti-units into battle with you. Alright? So with a deck ready to go, let's test it in a real battle. I started by splitting up my units to take the control points early on. The reason for this is that most newer players will focus on taking 1 point at a time. If you already have all 3 by the time they capture 1, they can have that 1 and you're still scoring points. And while they're scrambling to get a second point, you can focus on grabbing energy. Notice how the white numbers appeared below my energy as I picked up those boxes. You'll gain 1 energy per second, but for each energy core you destroy, that number goes up. So now I'm earning 1.3 energy per second. So now I lost Zone B, but my point here was only to keep him busy so that I can rack up more points.
Got a scouting assignment for me?
Wolverine under attack from enemy troops.
Zone A contested.
Copy. Over. Kodiak is up again.
Zone A.
What are we waiting for? Let's go!
He wasted most of his early funds on a vulture. In general, it's not a good play to spend so much on an Uber unit this early in the match. That's why he was unable to hold more than 1 point at a time, because he didn't have the troops to keep them, and now I'm taking advantage of that and grabbing energy while he's still struggling to grab a second point. And remember, I still only have 1 squad on point C.
Jackrabbit rolling out.
Energy dropped.
Pedal to the metal. It's about time karma swung my way.
Let me at those tin cans.
You can run, but you can't hide. Got fire from above. Up there. Let's rip this field up.
Despite me not having a lot of anti-air, I was still able to take down his vulture, which crippled him. He put all of his time and energy into this one unit and it was gone. So my goal at this point was to get him to keep wasting his energy. So I sent my units back into Zone B so he can keep playing defense, as you can see here by the strike that he dropped on his own unit. When that didn't work, he played a Grizzly, which did take down Forge, but he used a lot of energy to do it. And remember that he's still getting a slower income of energy than me, so anything he plays hurts him more than it hurts me at this point. So then I lost point A, which was a mistake on my part. But a bigger mistake was him not picking up these energy cores, because when I picked these up, I was now pulling in almost 3 energy per second. Now all I needed was to keep dropping units to get one of the points back.
Go. Sorry, sir.
Got it. Eat my dud. We got some motor-on-motor action here.
Zone B contested.
Out of the way. I'm being engaged by enemy infantry.
Captured.
You can run, but you can't hide.
You are close to victory. Energy dropped.
Now he's rushing with a pretty large vehicle assault, so I was worried he might take the point again. So in anticipation of losing that fight, I decided to focus on the energy again so I can come back with another Grizzly and Forge.
Omni double. Making my approach.
Zone B contested.
And still lost that fight.
Zone B lost.
Let's tear up the terrain. For me, you're too kind.
Get me in range and I'll do the rest.
Enemy is halfway to victory.
So I played snipers with the cloak ability. Their cloak lasts for 90 seconds, but it gives me visibility over both control planes.
On it. Fail.
Zone B contested.
So now it's an all-out battle of attrition over point B, but the real difference maker is that I'm pulling in more energy than he is, so I can drop more troops. So here you see me screwing up several times, but it doesn't matter because my mistakes don't really hurt my energy production because I still have another 400 to burn. I could have ended this battle a while ago if I took a second to realize how much energy I had. I'm also willing to bet he had little to nothing on point A, so if I would have taken the time to send some troops over there and check it out for myself, this would have probably been over already.
I'm under heavy assault.
Minutes remaining. Zone B contested.
It'll be like they never existed. I'm being shelled by enemy artillery. Good
And that's game. Really messy game, but you can see how much the energy cores really matter in Blitz mode.
Gone either way.
He should have won. If it weren't for the opening minute of the game where I put a Marine squad on point C to get that early lead, I would have probably lost. But he spent all of his time playing catch-up that he didn't focus on the energy cores, and lost the battle of attrition in the end because of it. And there you have the basics of how to play Blitz. If you like this video, leave a like down below to let me know you want more content like this. If you want to know how to play a specific leader or have a suggestion for another Halo Wars tutorial video, leave a suggestion down below. Thanks for watching, and all hail the Husky Queen. Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh, God, that one actually got me. That one actually got me.
It made it worse because you got scared too, so I got